Welcome in everyone. Dr. Ray Benedetto here. Many of you know me, many of you don't. We're gonna get right to work today. So today's gonna be all content. There's gonna be no fluff. Um, Not selling anything. So um, literally just teaching, all content, Q&A afterwards. Let's get to it. So we're gonna dive in today deep on the secret to relief and remission from Hashimoto's in 90 days or less. Okay. Here's the goal. Figure out how to figure out your root causes and get relief from your thyroid symptoms in the next 90 days without more medications so you can put your Hashimoto's into remission. Sounds good, right? Cool. All right, let's get to it. Now, stick around for at the end your chance if you would like to see if what we're going to go over today can help you with your Hashimoto symptoms and to get you to remission. Again, there is nothing for sale here. I don't sell on my workshops, but what always happens is I get flooded after I do these things and everyone with emails and messages and someone's like, I want in, like that program looks awesome and how do I do this and how do I get started? So we'll go over that, how you can find out that, but there's nothing for sale here today. So but hang around. We'll have a chance to see how we put it all together at the end. All right. Now, focus. I am not going to babble on for 90 minutes. Okay. I'm going to keep this as tight and focused and impactful as possible. But it'll mean a lot more to you if you're not on Facebook or scrolling on your phone or all that kind of jazz. So let's lock in and let's get to work. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Dr. Ray Benedetto. I have been working for a very long time with Hashimoto's patients. I am a chiropractor by degree and board certified neurologist, chiropractic neurologist in functional medicine. Been working virtually with pretty much exclusively Hashimoto's patients since 2018. And here's my goal today. Here's my goal with all my patients, right? Little couple testimonials. I'm not going to harp on these things, but some of these hit home to me when patients post these things or send these things to me because this is what I'm going for, right? The most sane form of medicine practiced anywhere, empowering clients to help heal themselves, get to the root cause of the problem. That's what we're talking about today. Thorough testing, tool belt of knowledge. Wish I had known this years ago. Okay, these are literally patients of mine. You can see I just scraped them from the post that they sent me. And I work with my wife, obviously, Dr. Allison, as well. That's the reason we're here today. She has Hashimoto's, so that's why it's our mission. And a bunch more. We can go on for days with testimonials. We're not going to do that. All right. What are we here for today? The what. Okay. The what is if you're watching this, you probably have Hashimoto's, right? Autoimmune hypothyroidism. Okay. Yes, there's autoimmune hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease. Hashimoto's is much more common. We basically treat them the same way. Like autoimmune thyroid is autoimmune thyroid. Some people it goes high, makes them go overactive. Most people it makes them go underactive. Okay. So you're here because you most likely have Hashimoto's, right? And you've tried a bunch of stuff already, right? You've tried supplements, you've tried different diets, you've taken the meds, you've tried low dose naltrexone, you're sick of going to see doctors and not getting anywhere. You've tried other programs, some of them like astronomically priced, um, and it's not working, right? Why else would you be here? Now, by the time we're done today, we're going to help dispel some of these. So we're going to help fix some of those those shortcomings, if you will, up to this point in medicine, right? So people get to me and they have thoughts. My blood tests, and these are things that are all probably running through your head too, right? My blood tests are normal. I'm telling me my blood tests are normal. Why am I not getting better? Right? And those thoughts are going to lead to feelings. I'm confused. I'm frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do here. I'm not getting any answers. I'm hitting, roadblocks. That's going to lead us to take certain actions, which is usually consumes more and more information trying to figure things out, right? Dr. Google. Still not getting anywhere, right? And our results are none. I feel worse. I don't even know what to do from here. All right. So by the time we're done today, I want to be able to help instill some clarity and some confidence in what you're going to learn. Okay. Through just my expertise. Okay. Now, so those thoughts we want to transform into, okay, I get it now. Now I know exactly why I'm not getting better and I know what to do about it. Right. Which are going to obviously improve our feelings. Oh, cool. Now I get some clarity. Feels like a weight off my shoulders. I feel very optimistic now about things that I can do to get myself better, which is going to lead to better actions, right? Maybe you want to partner with me. Great. You don't have to. I'm going to tell you everything you need to do today. Okay. The results are going to be what? Relief from your symptoms in the short term and a clear path forward in the long term to remission. Okay. It all starts right here. Okay. There are three prongs to attack here. My patients come to me, they want a personalized Hashimoto's recovery plan. I'm going to give you the 30,000-foot view of how we have to do it, and then we're going to actually go into how to do it. Okay. The first problem they come to me with. Okay. My doctor is just treating my blood work. Like they're literally just looking at my blood work, TSH mostly. If it's in range, they're not doing anything. If it's out of range, they give me the meds till it's back in range, and then they're done. And nothing changes. It's not helping me. Okay. So we have to find a doctor. Again, me is great. Me, not me, fine. You got to find somebody who's going to treat you as a person, not the blood work, not your symptoms, even, to be honest with you. They're important, obviously. I do that with a three-pronged attack. I meet with patients. I say, okay, listen, I just did this earlier today. Lay it on me. Tell me, give me your life history if you have to, right? What has been your history up until now? What has been your previous healthcare until now, right? And then we need to plug the holes in the bucket, of which there are usually a lot, because there's a lot left untreated or undiagnosed that we got to fix. Okay, we need to look at people's quality of life. Like we need to baseline this when we get started, so we know where we're at in the beginning. Where have we been? Where are we at now? Where are we trying to get to? Right? I call that my Benedetto bedside manner. We got, I like to give things goofy names, and it happens to rhyme. So, and again, bedside manner is basically absent in medicine nowadays anyway, right? So let's bring it back. Let's bring bedside manner back. Okay. Now, what is that going to do? That's going to help create a personal plan, right? Because we're looking at the person as an individual. Problem number two, people come to me, they go, I know I have to figure out my root causes, right? The triggers. What are the root causes of my autoimmune condition, my Hashimoto's? I don't know what they are. I don't know how to figure them out. Okay, so by the time we're done today, you are going to know how to figure out your root causes. And there's again a three-pronged approach to that. Okay. I like a DNA genetic health profile because we want to figure out possible underlying genetic mutations and things that could be a potential cause of symptoms or the autoimmunity. Many of you watching this right now have probably heard of things like MTHFR mutations. That's one. There's many more we want to look for. The second test, so this is through testing, right? Easy tests. I have a DNA profile. I have my patients do ancestries tests. You'll see a little bit later on. The second test is these are done at home too. Is a Dutch complete hormone test. Okay, the Dutch test, which again you'll see in a moment, is really three tests in one. We run these tests because they're tests that was going to give us information about someone's root causes that are not easily checked on blood work or super reliable on blood work, right? We could check a vitamin D deficiency on blood work. That's easy. These are tests that we do outside of that to help look for these root causes. A Dutch test is great because it's like three different tests in one. It looks at hormones along with methylation activity. It looks at adrenals, and then it looks at something called organic acids, which are nutritional deficiencies, oxidative stress, cellular inflammatory markers, neurotransmitter imbalance. So it's a really cool test. Great test. I love it. And then the last one, obviously, is blood work. If we can find something on blood work, let's do blood work. That's easy. It's quick, you know. But we're gonna look at these. We're gonna look more comprehensive, and we're gonna look functionally, right? Your doctors are just looking at these gigantic lab ranges. We got to look at functional ranges to pick up on things. All right. That's going to give us clarity on what your root causes are. And it's going to give us a crystal clear path moving forward. Okay. What's the third problem people come to me with? I know I got to make some dietary changes. I've seen this AIP thing. I've seen this carnivore thing. I know I got to make some dietary changes. I know I got to take some supplements. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to do it. Like I don't know what to eat, what not to eat. I don't know how to even implement that into my daily life. I don't know what supplements to take. It's like throwing something against the wall and see if it sticks. Most practitioners are doing that too. By the time you're done today, and by the time you're done with me, you're going to know exactly what foods to eat and avoid and what supplements to take because we need to align everyone's foods with their body, right? That's step one. We need to prescribe specific and targeted supplements to the individual. Okay. Not just like, again, blind, everyone gets the same package. Okay. The ultimate goal here being developing a personalized dietary nutritional protocol that's going to get someone healthy in the short term, but then keep them healthy in the long term. Okay. That's the goal. The goal is relief in the short term, remission in the long term, right? I call that my Hashimoto's healing path. That's why we're here today, right? I want at least 50% improvement in patient symptoms in the first 30 days, definitely in the first 90 days. Weight loss, decreased inflammation, brain fog, you name it, right? And again, that's why we're here today. This is what I call it, my 90 days to Hashimoto's healing. It's where all of this stuff comes together. And from 0 to 90 days, we can get someone significant relief from their symptoms and on the path towards remission long term. Pretty cool. Now, let's kind of dig in how we do this with a case study. We're going to take a patient of mine. I broke it down into chunks. So we're going to go through how we do this. All right. Margaret, okay, 62 years old, comes to me, every symptom under the book. You know these things, right? If you're listening to this, you probably are experiencing these or have. Uncontrollable weight gain. Like I don't eat a thing and I'm gaining weight all over the place and I can't get it off. Depression, right? Depression, anxiety, very common. Fatigue, all kinds of digestive problems, cravings, brain fog, you name it, right? She was on thyroid meds, right? Treated, thyroid meds, labs are normal, nothing changes, all these symptoms, right? Now, so what did we do? I walked her through the framework. Okay. We took these steps. We sat down, did a comprehensive history. We looked at where things were falling through the cracks in her previous medical care or even in her current medical care. Right? We looked at her as a person. We treated the person with the diagnosis, not the diagnosis in the person. Okay. So we went through step one. Okay. What did we do? We took things that we could already see on her blood work, which I find all the time. Like, hey, send me your old blood work. I do this with my patients all the time. Anybody who's a patient of mine will tell you this. If we have a first consultation, I'm like, all right, before we even do anything, I want labs. I want to see your past. Okay. So, because we want to look for diagnoses and things that are there that may have been swept under the rug. You're going to see that in a sec. What are some root causes that maybe have already been identified but not addressed, like a vitamin D deficiency or anemias or blood sugar issues or whatever, things that we already see there, liver problems, right? Then we need to fix the medical failures. Okay, do we need to fill in blanks? A lot of times I can just, okay, we need to check for this, this, and this. We're going to do some quick blood work to fill in these blanks. And then we run through I usually run through an 85-point thyroid assessment with my folks. It's just an assessment form they fill out, which we can look at how is your thyroid dysfunction affecting your quality of life from the Hashimoto's. Okay. So what did we do? At this point, Margaret had not been diagnosed with Hashimoto's. So I sent her for blood work. You can see this is all the way back in 2017. I told you I've been doing this since 18. I've been doing this a lot longer than that, but I've been hardcore all in online even since 18. So she's got Hashimoto's. Okay. Checkbox number one. Okay. Do some of these other tests. This is from a different patient, but you can see that this patient had all these tests done. So you can see here, these are from 2023. This patient, I remember, she started having these things tested in like 2017 or 2018. Okay. Her doctors every year, and they were all positive and high all the time, elevated for years, nothing done, just swept under the rug, right? Parietal cell antibodies. Those are cells that line your stomach that absorb B12. They produce intrinsic factor, which absorbs B12, and produce HCl, which is your hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes. This is indicating autoimmune attacks on those cells, all kinds of all kinds of digestive problems. Smooth muscle, right? The ANA, you guys have probably seen a lot of you. The ANA is positive, the anti-nuclear antibody. We got smooth muscle antibodies as well. So this person's immune system not only is attacking their thyroid, it's attacking their gut, and it's attacking their smooth muscles, which smooth muscles are the muscles that line your organs, right? So it's not like skeletal muscle. Smooth muscles internal, it's lining your organs, your blood vessels. I mean, come on, man. Tested for years. This has to be fixed. It has to be addressed. It really starts with the autoimmunity, which is what we're talking about today, but these are things that get swept under the rug that I find all the time, right? This stuff showing up on blood. I have this one patient, C-reactive protein, or this was back to Margaret, um, 42. 42. This is an inflammatory marker. Anything over 3 is considered as high, very high, significant risk for a cardiovascular event. 42. Doing nothing about this. Their doctors are doing nothing. Okay. Iron's low, ferritin's low. So we're looking at like anemia, right? Got to be fixed. These are all underlying root causes, swept under the rug or fell through the cracks. And then this is the form that I use that I can help assess how someone's thyroid's affecting their quality of life. So that's leg number one. It has to be done. It's not done. It's never done, not even in functional medicine. Okay, but we have to do those things if we're going to lay a foundation for making sure, looking under all the rocks, making sure we're not missing anything. And then right away, we're a lot of times given things like, oh my gosh, we have to address this. You have it already. We have ammunition, we have data, we have things that we can start addressing right away, day one, to help get you better. Right? So then what did we do? Then we went to step 2. Okay, figuring out some of the root causes that we can't see on blood work with testing. Okay. So we need some root cause clarity. Again, there's 2 tests I run pretty routinely on all my patients. There may be others. Like I said, this person I met with earlier today, there's going to be some other stuff we're going to have to do, but it's a case by case deal. But these are pretty much across the board because they're never run and they give us a ton of valuable information about underlying root causes that you can't see on blood work. Number 1 is a genetic health profile. I have my patients do Ancestry.com's test. It's $99. You can't beat it. From that test, we can pull their genetic data. They don't tell you this, but it's there. You do that test, you can get a raw data download of your genetic information, your DNA profile. I can take the data, analyze it, make it useful, make it medically relevant. Just look at medically relevant genetics. I don't need genes for like eye color. So I have my patients do that. It's done at home, it's saliva, right? Number 2, Dutch Complete. We talked about it briefly earlier. Hormone stuff, adrenal dysfunction, methylation stuff, nutritional deficiencies, neurotransmitter, cellular inflammation. Really cool. Antioxidant status. Look at all this on that one test. It's done at home, it's dried urine. It's a great test. And then we can do additional functional labs, fill in blanks, right? So optimal rate, take their previous labs. Okay, we're gonna relook at these in optimal ranges, fill in blanks on maybe labs you never had run that we have to check. Epstein-Barr virus. Lots of different things we can check for that we might need to. Right? So the DNA, I like Ancestry.com. It's for $99, it's the cheapest, easiest backdoor way pretty much to get your DNA data. No one's doing this. Doctors don't do this. Functional medicine doctors don't do this because I just have experience doing this. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to get the data and what to do with it when you get it, right? So what I do is I have patients do the test, spin the thing, send it back, and they'll send you the results. And when the results are ready, they'll send you an email. Hey, your results are ready. You know, you're half Norwegian or whatever. You could do it. You could do what you want with that information. But that means the data is ready. So you can log into your account, download the data, send it over to me, and I upload it into different software where we can do what's known as a genomic analysis. So I can take that information. Most of you are familiar with something like an MTHFR mutation. So we can take that information. I can upload it. This is just one piece. There's like between 90 and 100 different genes I want to look at. This is one of them, but this is a big one. Most of you are familiar with this. So we can break down each of these genes. Now we can't change your genetics, but if there are things there, if there are monkey wrenches in there that are A, causing symptoms, B, contributing to the overarching autoimmunity, right, the Hashimoto's, we have to identify them and we have to deal with them long term, right? Nobody does this. That's why things get missed. Dutch test, I love it. So here's a sample of the Dutch test. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen, that's like a summary page. But the right-hand side of your page, you can see we look at the whole entire hormone pathway, all the way from progesterone, androgens, estrogens, metabolism. We look at from how is your body making them to what are the levels to how are you getting rid of them, and we can measure methylation activity as well. So we look at all this stuff on the Dutch test. And what I do is I do these tests And we get started on an AIP protocol, which we're going to talk about after this third leg of the triangle. And then we get these test results back. So patients are already feeling better by the time we get these test results back, but we're not all the way there yet. So then I'll do an analysis on their test results. I record that so then I can send it to the patient and we can review them together. But we kind of break all this down and make it relevant for each patient with their symptoms and with their underlying root causes. Second part of the test is adrenals, which you can see here on the left, the adrenal glands. So we could look at DHEA production, cortisol metabolism, cortisol patterns, melatonin. We can look at the HPA axis. We can look at all this stuff on the Dutch. And then that third part, which we talked about, the organic acids. So you can see we look at B12, B6, biotin, glutathione, gut markers, neuroendocrine, neuro-related markers, oxidative stress, cellular damage markers, really cool stuff. We could look at all this stuff one test. Super cool. And then again, we're gonna take. I have chart. I'm old school. I still do this stuff by hand most of the time. I have these charts where I'll take someone's blood work and I'll put it in my functional values, and then we can break it down. And obviously, you can see certain things might indicate certain things, but we're looking at global issues when we do this. But we can take someone's labs and really look at them in a functional way, make it more relevant. Now, so everyone loves basically the second and third leg of the triangle. Everyone gets to me, they're like, yeah, cool, I get it. My previous doctors stink. Like, let's start over here. But then we get like, cool, testing, root causes, let's go. I want to figure those out. And then, all right, what do we got to do from the diet and nutritional standpoint here, right? So, so enter the AIP protocol. Now, most of you listening to this right now have heard of an AIP protocol, or you've kind of dug into it yourself a little bit. You most likely have never had anybody help you do it, which is what I do with my patients, but you've likely never had someone like help you implement it, right? So what's an AIP protocol? Most people hear AIP protocol, they think elimination diet. That's part of it, but it's not the whole thing, okay? An AIP protocol is much more comprehensive than that. So it's kind of two-pronged, okay? So the first thing we want to do is we want to eliminate foods that could be a problem. Okay. So this is what's going to get us on that healing path. So it's going to get us that relief in a short period of time. We take the first 30 days. I usually take the first 30 days with my patients, sometimes longer, but at least 30 days. That's where we start. And we're going to eliminate foods, anything from the diet that could be a problem. Inflammatory foods, foods causing leaky gut, foods that people have reactions to, spiked blood sugar, you name it. Okay. Eventually, we're going to reintroduce, but in the beginning, we just eliminate. Okay. I prescribe a couple of nutritional supplements, and these are tailored to the person because while we're eliminating foods from the diet, that helps take care of the food triggers, right? Food root causes. Let's get them out. We'll figure those out down the road. Significantly anti-inflammatory, very gut friendly. We want to go in with a few supplements. I'm not huge with supplements with my patients. Very targeted, very minimalistic. But we need to do things like decrease systemic inflammation, calm down the immune system, heal and rebalance the gut, detoxify the liver, detoxify cells, cellular inflammation. They've got to do those things. So we do them all at the same time because in that first 30 days, that's where we want that turnaround. That's where we want that 180, and we want at least my goal is 50% symptom improvement in that first 30 days. And then after that period of time, now moving forward from there, we're personalizing what your protocol is going to look like. Reintroducing foods, which foods go in, which foods stay out. Now we got test results back. What did we find on a Dutch? What did we find on DNA? Like, what do we have to do now to hit these individual things so we can build a long-term remission plan? That's the goal, right? So you're going to learn in the beginning, eat this, not that, for that first 30 days. In the long run, we're going to have to figure out, I'm eating this, I'm not eating that, right? For each person, it's going to vary. Supplements. You don't have to worry about spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on supplements. And you don't have to worry about which ones should I be taking that are right for me. It's going to be based on the protocol and it's going to be based on testing. So you're going to save a boatload of money. You're going to be taking the best supplements there are, and you don't have to, guess anymore. Or, go to your practitioner who's treating you with symptoms with supplements. It's the same as medications, right? So we got to figure these things out. That opens the door, right? Cool. Look at that. Like this door is closed. It was so dark in here. Rocks everywhere. It's cold. It's wet. Oh, look at that. Now the door is open. We got a path. We can walk through it. Let's get to the other side. It's the goal of all of this. Okay. That's 90 days to Hashimoto's healing. Okay. This is the exact framework I use to walk my patients through. I love my little triangle here because I think it really helps to boil it down, but this is the exact plan and the protocol. Now, again, it's a framework as well. So like there's always little individual variations that we have to do from patient to patient. Um, but this is it. Like this is where we're at. And this gets the job done. So we did this with Margaret. What happened? She was down 20 pounds, 3 months. I think she was down 20 pounds in like 2 months, to be honest with you. Literally, these symptoms were gone. Like depression was gone, fatigue was gone, gut was fixed, cravings gone. She was still on thyroid meds, okay, because she's probably going to still need to stay on them for life, even though we're treating the Hashimoto's and getting that into remission. But by the time someone gets to me, if they're already on them, they probably are going to have to stay on them because they were put on them because there was too much damage done to the thyroid before they even got to me. Hope that makes sense. Chris, I love Chris. She's a great story, and this testimonial was awesome. She's got two autoimmune diseases, right? And look, she just boils it down, right? She didn't even know what they are. Medical doctors were offering nothing. She followed a protocol. She's down 40 pounds. This was back in 2019, gang. She's hopping out of bed in the morning, no joint pain, no back pain, working out again. This is my favorite part. And if you knew Chris, this is so her. Um, Whispers at work. They think I had bypass surgery. She goes, seriously? No, no. Is it easy? No. Is it simple? Relatively, but it's doable. It's doable if you want it, and it's doable if you have a plan to do it, right? And obviously someone to guide you to help you do it. Now, what's the protocol? What like for this is with me with my patients. Like how do we deliver? So that's like the what we need to do. We're going to get into now like the how do we do it. Okay. There's pretty much three pillars here. Okay. Number one is I have um, a portal, I call it my online office. Okay. Which only my patients get access to. And it's a really cool place. And I'm there. And you can message me in there for support anytime you need it. I'm there once a week. I have office hours at least once a week where I'm live inside the group. Anyone can come and ask me questions, get guidance and support. Everything's in there. I show you what to eat, what not to eat, how to take supplements, how to do the testing. Like it's all in there. Like the what we just talked about is all here. Patients get access to me. Everybody, I do a jumpstart call with everybody. It's like we're gonna lay all this out. Here's what we're gonna do. You can email me, you can message me, you can join office hours. Kind of like a college professor, right? It's like you're in like, anatomy and physiology 101, and it's like, oh, I need to go ask my professor some questions. Oh, they have office hours for Thursdays from 2 to 3. Cool, I'll pop in there and get some help. I got meal plans, I got recipes, I got whatever someone needs. I go over everyone's tests personally, their test results and all that kind of stuff. My results and time frames with my patients. Okay. That first 30 days, that's where we want huge turnaround. I want 50% symptom improvement. I want weight coming off. I want energy coming back. I want inflammation down. I want brain fog going away. Are all these things perfect in 30 days? No. Do we want to see them do a 180 and head in the right direction? Yes. That's the timeline here. Next 30 days, we got testing back. What do we got? Let's put a plan in place to deal with these things long term. So by the time we get to that 90-day mark, we're eliminating these flare-ups and if we haven't reached remission, we are well on our way to remission. So someone gets on board, this is what happens, right? Now I have a couple of different protocols because again, I know someone's going to ask. So I'm going to throw this slide in there. If someone's going to ask, the 90-day protocol is my most popular because it gets the job done. And you can see I have like a higher end protocol. It's a 6 month commitment where you work one-on-one with me. And that's awesome. I mean, that it doesn't get much more individualized than that. Um, and I have an AIP protocol, which literally is DIY. Like it just shows you and teaches you how to do an AIP protocol, how to eliminate what foods to eliminate, what foods to eat, what foods not to eat, what supplements to take, and like just how to do that. The my 90-day protocol is over obviously 3 months, and it gets the job done. It checks all those boxes. It just doesn't give you the exclusive one-on-one access or personalized implementation with me. And obviously that protocol comes with a bit higher price tag. So some people don't want that or don't need that, to be honest with you. Now, again, I know I'm going to get asked. So, so there's nothing for sale on here. We're done. I'm going to ask, I'll answer some questions here if people have them. I hope this made sense today for everybody. I know I'm going to get questions on like, I want this. How do I get started? I want more information, that kind of thing. So you can just email me at my email there if you like. Or you can just grab your phone and scan that QR code I have like an information handout page that shows you everything on what this protocol looks like and how we implement it and how we do it. So, um, so I hope that'll be helpful for everybody. Again, take it or leave it, but the info's there. And if you're like, cool, I'm in, let's go, then we'll get started right away and I'll be in touch with everything we need to get started. Questions. I love questions. I am here for questions. If you would like to ask a question, you can raise your hand. That you can put in the chat. So there's a chat function, and you can also raise your hand. There's like a little raise your hand function down in the toolbar, and you can raise your hand, and then I can unmute you, and then you can talk. You can just ask me a question as well if you would like. Um, so if you have questions, I'm here. I'm going to stay. So perfect. Anastasia has a question. All right, Anastasia, you just need to unmute yourself and fire away. I'm here to help.
Hello, my name is Anastasia. I have a question about would you please be able to order a test prior to the appointment with you for hair tissue mineral analysis, GI map, and OAT, organic acid tests, and the one which you mentioned before? Is it? I believe it will help us.
So, yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. So if I understand your question correctly, did you already have these tests done?
No.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, and that's why I asked. Some people come to me and they're like, "Oh, I've had a hair tissue mineral analysis. They've had these things done, and they're like, "Hey, can we throw these into the mix too? Can we use these as an evaluation tool?" So what is your question?
Would you please be able to order those functional medicine tests
Oh, sure. Yeah.
prior?
I can order anything. I can order any supplement someone needs, any functional medicine test someone needs. Absolutely.
How
Absolutely.
much?
What you can do, Anastasia, if you want, you see my email address there on the screen, shoot me an email. And we can kind of discuss that on the side, or we can even set up a consultation if we need to, just to discuss your case and discuss those tests. Um, so yeah, shoot me an email and we can go from there.
How much does it cost? How much does those tests cost?
The test that I recommend,
Yes.
so the Dutch test, my practitioner cost is $300. Um, that's why I order it for my patients because you can buy it yourself. Like you could go on their website and you could order it. And I think it's like double. I think it's like 600 if they sell direct to consumer. But I order it for my patients. My practitioner pricing is 300. So what I do is I order it for my patients and it gets sent right to them. They do the testing, turn around and send it back to the lab, and then the results come to me. So that way then I can analyze the results, give my interpretation and any action steps based on those results, and then make recommendations and implement it layered into a treatment plan for each patient. So that's the way it works with that one. The Ancestry is 99 bucks. So
What is the
you go on Ancestry.com's website. Up on the top, they have like a little DNA tab you can click, and they have a couple different tests. It's the cheapest one. It's 99 bucks.
What is different?
With those other
Mhm.
tests you're asking about, I would have to look them up. I'm not sure off the top of my head what like a GI map's like 300 or 400 bucks as well. So I we can talk privately, and I can get you pricing on additional tests that you might want. I just have to look them up.
Are there any ways to use insurance to cover those tests or no?
Um, I have had functional medicine services, no. Um, they're not covered. Testing, blood work, yes, usually. Um, other functional medicine testing, not usually. I have had patients get reimbursed from their insurance for the Dutch test. So when you
Mhm.
do the Dutch test, the lab can send you like an itemized statement with all the codes and all that kind of stuff that you can submit to your insurance. I have had patients get reimbursed for that, but it's really kind of a hit or miss deal.
Do you accept insurance?
I may not, well, I do in my office for in-office stuff, but for functional medicine services, they're not covered.
Okay. Where's your office?
I am in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Boy, I should have mentioned that in the beginning, huh?
Okay.
So so I'm in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour north of Philadelphia. And but obviously for a very long time I've been working virtually with patients from all over the country.
But you would not,
So we meet virtually.
I'm sorry,
No,
you would
no,
not be
no.
you would not be able to use insurance for functional medicine approach, right?
Correct, correct. And
Yes.
that's any functional medicine doctor. It's just not covered by traditional health insurance.
Okay,
So
thank you so
that's
much.
why, I offer a couple different options. I try and make my care as affordable as possible. I offer all kinds of payment plans and stuff, which most people don't. So, which is, and again, kind of why I have different levels of care. Someone's like, well, I don't want the one-on-one. I want the 90-day. Like, that's cool. That'll get the job done. I can do that, and you can help me do it, and it's affordable, and that kind of thing. Whereas I know a lot of practitioners out there, it's like a one-on-one coaching or a group coaching, and it's like take it or leave it, and it's like, ridiculous. So great questions, Anastasia. Thank you. Great questions. Keep them coming, gang. Keep them coming. Let me check the Q&A. Uh, and they're coming in order, so I'll just answer them in order if that's okay. But yeah, if you have questions, put them in the chat, or if you want to talk live, just raise your hand. Kim, can you give approximations of cost for the three wonderful programs you offer? Yeah, sure. So the AIP only protocol, that's 47 bucks. That's like, here's the protocol, one time fee. Um, Here you go. You know, that's the AIP protocol only. The um, the 90-day protocol, so that's the 90-day to Hashimoto's healing, kind of the one we're talking about today. It's my most popular one for the 3 months. That one's 997, so that's 997 bucks, and I do payment options on that too, so you can split that up into I think I do three or four pay. I think I do four payments, so you can split it up even into four payments, and then like the exclusive higher end one-on-one protocol these are all obviously as of this recording. um, that one is 3,900, I think. That's for 6 months. That's a 6 month commitment. And that's one-on-one. Like you get my personal cell phone number. Like literally you can contact me after hours. Like that's super one-on-one um, for implementation and stuff. And I do payments on that too. You can split that up over like 6 months. I think it's like six payments of 650 or something like that. Um, so lots of options for everybody. Pretty reasonable, I would hope. Um, Sonia, any chance you can accept new patients on Medicare or Medicaid? I have both. I would gladly accept a new patient. Just can't bill it to Medicare or Medicaid. If you wanted help, Sonia, I'll give you the help. It just can't be billed to Medicare or Medicaid. Someone's insurance, let's put it this way. Someone's insurance, and I get it. This is like radically different from like Western mainstream medicine. Um, because it's all like you call an office and like the first thing like they ask you is like, what's your medical insurance? I don't care about someone's medical insurance. First of all, it's not going to apply anyway. But my first question is like, all right, let's sit down and do a detail. I'm treating the patient, not their insurance. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to do what's best for them. and try and meet them where they're at. So the, my goal is, can I help this person? And does this person want help? And okay, great. We'll find a way to make it happen, you know. Catherine, do you need to stop taking supplements before the Dutch test? If so, how much in advance? There are a handful of supplements you need to stop taking, and there's actually a couple of foods that you can't eat. So it's a couple things. There's a handful of supplements. It's like quercetin and things like that. And then there's a handful of foods like bananas, avocados, beans, I believe, that you can't eat for about 2 days. I think it's 48 hours before the test. And there's a restriction. It's a dry urine test. So there's a restriction on water intake. Like you can only drink 40 ounces of fluid. That's actually the hardest one. No caffeine the day of, and only 40 ounces of fluid leading up to the first sample, which is like dinner time. So those are actually the more challenging ones, Catherine. But yes, and again, those instructions come with the test. I have video tutorials, and I've taken actually tutorials off of their website that I provide to my patients, which like their instructions are pretty well laid out. And then also there I've like videos where it explains how to do the testing and all that kind of stuff. My goal with my patients is I tell them, listen, you just show up, and if you can follow instructions, we'll get you figured out and we'll get you better. You know. Um, how does knowing the DNA change how you treat? Additional supplements, something else? Another great question, Catherine. So, um, typically it would indicate the need for some additional nutritional support, right? For example, um, a lot of times, so it's really another layer of treatment, right? Which could very well be contributing to your symptoms. We also cross-reference it with the Dutch test and the blood work. So there are things I can see on the Dutch test that I cross-reference with the DNA. For example, we check like glutathione levels on a Dutch test. If someone's low, if they have low glutathione levels on their organic acid testing on the Dutch, and then we go to the DNA and it's like, oh yeah, look, we're looking at your genetics for the DNA for glutathione are mutated, right? They're poor. We can anticipate, okay, I'm not making glutathione very well. That's what's causing the deficiency. That's what's causing detoxification issues or hormone imbalances or liver stuff. Okay, so then what are we going to do to target that specific thing? Do we need to just give you glutathione? Do we need to give you NAC? Like, then that'll help to dictate in your whole clinical picture, what do we have to do for that thing, right? How is this playing into your whole case? And then what do we have to do to manage that or to get around that or to fix that? Hope that makes sense, Catherine. Sonia, my question has been answered. You're welcome. Jane, how do you help people's Hashimoto's fatigue? So here's the deal. So um, when we talk about symptoms, Jane, and anybody who's listening to this right now, and I have this talk all the time, right? We don't do anything specific for someone's fatigue. We might, right? If we find mitochondrial issues that are causing fatigue, then we might need to address that specifically. But when we talk about symptoms with all the symptoms are coming from the Hashimoto's, right? So the goal is not to treat the fatigue. The goal is to treat the Hashimoto's that is causing the fatigue, right? So we get the Hashimoto's. That's everything we've been talking about today is figuring out the root cause and treating it, right? So we figure out the Hashimoto's and get that treated, then the fatigue and the other symptoms get better. I hope that makes sense. If not, Jane, follow up, no problem. Kim, thank you so much for your price info. Follow-up question. Do the prices include testing and supplements? So my protocols, all my protocols, except for the AIP protocol, but the 90-day and the one-on-one protocol, they both include the initial handful of supplements that we use for the AIP protocol. So the answer to that is yes. Now, down the road, there may be additional costs, but based on testing and stuff, but that those initial supplements are included in those fees, yes. And if not, pricing. So, but again, down the road, if we need supplements, it's measured in usually 20s and 40s, not hundreds. Okay. My goal is not to sell people supplements. And then the testing, I think I touched on. So the Dutch is 300, the DNA is 99. So those would be the only thing additional outside of treatment protocols. Sonia, being someone with Hashimoto's, how do you feel about GLP-1? Oh boy, should have known. Um, I'm not a fan. Let's put it that way. Um, but again, I'm more conservative. I'm not a fan of any medications if they're not necessary. If we can fix someone's Hashimoto's and get their metabolism tuned up and they start losing the weight, then we don't need the injections, you know? Let's fix the root of the problem and try not to cover up the symptom. Again, the weight is a symptom of the problem. Let's fix the problem. The symptoms go away, then we don't need potential issues from side effects of medications and stuff. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Dawn has a raised hand. I'm going to turn your mic on. You'll probably just have to unmute yourself. Oh, you do have to unmute yourself, Dawn. You should be able to talk, Dawn. You just have to unmute yourself. If you're still here, Dawn. All right. Dawn, if you can unmute yourself, let me know. Oh, looked like you took your hand down. Okay. Anastasia has some follow-ups. Go, fire away, Anastasia.
Yes, how do you address leaky gut? And do you treat sebum?
Yes, I'll answer the second question is easier to answer. Yes, if we can identify SIBO, obviously I have treatment protocols for that. Leaky gut. So here's the deal with leaky gut. I used to test everybody that hit my door, right? So literally for years, everybody that walked in my door. I like Vibrant Wellness and Vibrant Labs for functional medicine testing. They do a tremendous job. Vibrant Wellness. I don't get anything for recommending them, but that's who I like. You can check out their stuff. They're awesome. I used to do leaky gut testing with them for years. I mean, I tested everybody that hit my door for it. And I honestly can't think of anyone who didn't have it, right? So I tell patients, I'm like, look, we're going to save the expense and we're going to save the time of doing another test that's going to tell us something that we already know, that just from experience. So I build it into my protocols. So as part of my AIP protocol, the supplements, some of the supplements that we use, we implement them in phases. So it's like we're gonna take this for this, and then we're gonna and so I have a gut healing portion protocol of that protocol, and that's where we fix it. So we got to heal the gut. It's a three-pronged attack for gut restoration. We need to heal the gut, the lining of the gut, right? Leaky gut, inflammation along the gut. We need to balance the biome, right? Um, so both the good bacteria, you're talking about SIBO, right? So we want to avoid that. So we want to balance out the biome with both pre and probiotics, and then we want to address potential pathogens. So I use supplement protocols for that because again, I used to do gut testing on everybody, and I found something on everybody. Everybody had an H. pylori or a parasite or this or that or the other. So I said, listen, we're going to build it into the protocol. You're going to take these couple of supplements that are going to wipe out anything that's in there, antiparasitics, antifungals, antibacterials. And if they're not in there, it's not going to hurt you. But something's in there, and let's just take care of it. Save the time, save the expense of a test. Does that help, Anastasia?
Can there can functional medicine test show H. pylori present, but when the biopsies took during the endoscopy said that there is no H. pylori. So I'm very confused about the functional medicine test because
I would actually hang my hat on the functional medicine test over because it depends on how many biopsies they take. Now, colonoscopy is not going to show it. It's going to be an endoscopy because the H. pylori is in the upper part of the digestive tract. So
yes,
colonoscopy wouldn't show it. It would be endoscopy. Um,
endoscopy.
yeah. Honestly, I would trust the functional medicine test even over a biopsy because a biopsy is not going to they don't get a sample of every area of the stomach. You know what I mean? Um, I would trust the testing over the endoscopy, especially if someone's symptomatic. You know, like if they have all the signs and symptoms and we got a positive test and a negative biopsy, I'm still treating it. And 10 times out of 10, probably, we'll say 9 times out of 10, um, we fix it.
What if I know my root cause of Hashimoto, for example?
Your root cause is,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's great.
how we can like to make the gut not the good place for germs, blastocystis species, or the bacteria. How we can make on daily basis not the good environment for those type of species. It's possible. Is it possible?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. Again, it's going to start with that initial dietary and again, especially if someone already has testing where we've identified these things, it's going to start with that initial reset. So it's going to start with that AIP, which is going to just reset everything. And then if we've identified specific pathogens with testing, then we might need to have obviously an individualized treatment protocol, supplement, whatever, to go in and take care of that individual thing. Does that make
What
sense?
yeah. What is your thoughts about SIBO yogurt and all of these probiotics for
So I'm not sure I understand the
because
question.
the AAP protocol, we cannot have the yogurt during the
Correct. No
AAP.
dairy, no cow's milk. Well, we cut all dairy in the beginning.
I'm
That's
very
correct.
confused because the SIBO yogurt is good.
Well, we have to identify SIBO first. I don't want to
Yes,
treat,
I have it.
unless we're like seriously considering that it's there, I'd want to know it's there first before we start taking specific actions. Um, but yes, but as part of an AIP protocol, I encourage fermented foods and we do some
Mm.
supplementation to balance the gut. We don't need yogurt to do it.
Okay.
Cool. Good questions. Good questions. All right, back to the Q&A. Sonia, you're welcome. Sarah, I was told since I'm in menopause, my hormones don't matter because they expect them to be low. That is very true. How does it help in your treatment? So we're not just checking your hormone levels because when they talk about hormones, they're just talking about progesterone, estrogen, maybe testosterone. We want to look at the whole pathway. Yes, I expect them to be low, but I also want to see how are you metabolizing your hormones, right? So on that Dutch test, what we do is we look at the levels, but we also look at how is your body metabolizing the hormones you are making. And if that's off, that could be a problem, right? So, yeah, yes, we do expect them to be low, but there's so much more to it than just the levels. I want to see how is your body making them? How is your body processing them? I want to look at your methylation activity, which is all part of that as well. I want to look at adrenals. So there's so much more to it than that, but kind of correct. And first of all, they're not ever going to do anything to make them go down. So why would they recheck them? Right? So they're never going to do any treatment that is going to make them go down. So that they got, yeah, you got Hashimoto's, you got antibodies. There's no need for us to check them again. I want them checked at least every 6 to 12 months on my patients, but I'll send them for that. Um, and asked how do you know if someone's improving? They only tested TSH and T4. So we need more complete testing, number one in the beginning. So we need more complete um, thyroid testing, number one, in the beginning and throughout. And we want improvement, right? I want symptomatic improvement. I want my patients getting better, and then the labs follow, right? The labs trail. So it's like, okay, we're doing all this stuff, we're fixing all this stuff, you're getting better, and then now let's recheck the labs down the road, and we want to see all that improve. But we have to get a full baseline before we can recheck. And they only do TSH and T4. I get it. We got to do better. Jane, what do you think about black seed oil for Hashimoto's? Kind of like the symptom question, Jane. I don't do supplements for, there's no direct line from this supplement to treat Hashimoto's. And I get it. I'm sorry to belabor the point. That's like a medical model is to treat this pill for this symptom or this pill for this diagnosis. Everyone's Hashimoto's is different. They all got there a different way. We're going to figure out different causes and they're going to require individualized or different treatments. Hope that makes sense. Kim, do you test and treat for mold? Sometimes, yes. Not all the time, but in certain cases I will. I have a patient I'm working with right now where we were highly suspicious. So yes. So yes, I test for it, and yes, I treat for it. So testing again, I like Vibrant Wellness. They have a terrific mold and mycotoxin test. So I'll run that one if we're suspicious, and then based on what we find, like species wise, is going to determine the treatment. Hope that makes sense. All right. Let's see here. Dawn couldn't unmute. No worries, Dawn. What happens at the end of 90 days or 6 months? You're out of here. I'm kicking you out and I never want to see you again. I'm joking. So if someone's doing a protocol, um, there's a couple different things, right? Let me finish your question and then I'll circle back around. So what happens at the end of 90 days or 6 months? Are there follow-ups that would be just considered an office visit and then pay separately for that? Do you prescribe hormones if needed as well? Do you work with a PCP if necessary? All right, we'll answer those questions twofold. So yes, we get to someone, and there's no hard caps on this stuff. It's not like 91 days or 6 months and a day I kick people out the door, but I like to give people a reasonable time frame how long it takes to do this stuff, right? So we get to that point where we got it all figured out, they're better, we're at remission, we're on our way to remission. Yes, we do either one of two things. I offer like a monthly maintenance plan, which is 97 bucks a month, and it's month to month, cancel it if you want, anytime. And that is like, okay, we did all this work. Now let's keep it that way. So I like for my patients then to meet with me at least once a month. But they retain full access. They can still message me, meet with me, email me, anytime they want. They still get access to the private group, my online office, join me for office hours every week. Maintains the exact same access for 97 bucks a month. They can cancel whenever they want, but my goal is to get them better, and then I want to keep people better at a reasonable fee. If they don't want to do that, which is totally fine, it's optional. They can just schedule one-off office visits. Those are 150. So like per visit. So you could do separately for that as well. I do not prescribe hormones, not prescription hormones. I do natural stuff to support hormones, but I do not prescribe like testosterone or estrogen or progesterone. And do you work with PCP? Of course. I work with anyone else's doctors. Absolutely. This is it. We're a team. I tell my patients, I'm like, I'm on your team. I'll quarterback the team, but there's still other players on the team that we all need to work together. You know, absolutely, Don, 100%. Um, Anonymous attendee. It's an unusual name. Would it not be easier just to remove the thyroid gland? All right. Hoping somebody would ask this question. So because I get this question a lot, and the answer is no. So Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease, Graves' disease, whatever. It's an autoimmune problem. The problem is the autoimmune disease. The thyroid is the target. So the thyroid is the victim, right? Removing the victim or removing the target doesn't stop the autoimmune disease. Here's an analogy. We have a bully at school, elementary school. We have a bully, and he goes in every day and he picks on this weaker kid and steals his lunch money, right? So he can eat lunch. Banging on him every day. Okay. Let's say that kid's family, the kid who's getting beat up and is getting his lunch money stolen all the time, gets up and moves out of town, i.e., the thyroid gland gets removed. The bully is still there. He didn't move. He's still in school and he's got to go get lunch. So he's got to look for someone else now to pick on and steal their lunch money. So the goal is punch the bully in the mouth. The goal is, I'm not advocating violence, but the goal is figure out what's causing the autoimmune problem, fix that. Then we get better. Just removing the target tissue doesn't make the autoimmune problem go away. Hope that makes sense. Catherine, a doctor suggested I get a thyroid ultrasound. Would this still be necessary? Not a bad idea. Or can it be treated without an ultrasound? I don't want to deal with uneducated doctors. Well, good. I hope you figured out that you're not dealing with one of those today. I don't claim to be all things to all people, but I've been doing this a long time. I've gotten pretty good at this. Um, it can be treated without an ultrasound. So it's not necessary. Would it be great to have? Sure. Just like blood work. If it's like, hey, I can go get an ultrasound next week, and I've never had one before, let's do it. It gives us so the ultrasound looks at the tissue, right? The actual thyroid tissue. So if we could get a look at that before we get started, that would be a great baseline as well. Is it necessary or required? No. We can treat without it. Would it be helpful? Sure. Would I go out of my way to get one done? Not necessarily. Hope that helps. Kim, what is your opinion on BHRT. So my opinion is, if we don't need it, why take it, right? Again, doctors will prescribe it for symptomatic relief. They'll give it to people to help relieve their symptoms, okay? But again, we're messing with hormones, right? So my goal, so my opinion on it is, let's figure out if there are hormone imbalances causing symptoms. And if there are, let's deal with those and fix them at the root instead of just prescribing hormones to replace them. I hope that makes sense, Kim. That's my opinion. That's kind of my philosophy with anything, really. Sarah, are allergy tests accurate? I would need to know what allergy tests you're talking about. I have amalgam fillings, but my teeth aren't in good enough shape to remove some of them. Can you detox daily to help with symptoms and lower antibodies? Um, just not sure what allergy tests you're referring to. If you're talking about food allergy tests, I don't run them as a matter of routine because I have not found them to be accurate. That's why we just use an elimination reintroduction protocol as part of it, AIP, to figure out foods. But yeah, and I'm assuming your question with the amalgams is, can you detox daily to help with the amalgams? Yes. I would need to know more, to be honest with you. Catherine, I haven't been officially diagnosed with Hashimoto's. Whether I am or not, will your program still help? First step is I would recommend that we confirm, yes, you're diagnosed with Hashimoto's or not. If you have hypothyroidism already diagnosed, odds are you do, because 9 out of 10 patients with hypothyroidism in this country have Hashimoto's as the cause. But I would still want to confirm it officially. And then, if yes, which is most likely, let's get to work. Sarah, thanks. You're welcome. You are very welcome. All right, let's see. Do we have anybody I missed? I don't think we have any more hands raised. And I don't see any more questions. Oh, Anastasia's popping in there with another one.
What if we all have Hashimoto because of the nodules? Suspicious nodules, grade 4 or just grade 3? What if it's about the nodule, not the liver, not the something else? What if the body is trying to protect us from the something else? I heard this from a physician, and my doctor said he believed it is the Hashimoto itself inside the nodule, which is producing the body antibodies.
Sure. So the nodule would not be the cause of the Hashimoto's. The nodules are a physical finding, right? So nodules are something that you would see on an ultrasound as a physical finding that could be due to the Hashimoto's. They're usually either fluid filled or tissue, like solid tissue. Now, you can see on an ultrasound or on a biopsy infiltration of white blood cells. So you can see on an ultrasound sometimes, usually on a biopsy, you will see characteristic cells called Hürthle cells. They're white blood cells that are characteristic. They have infiltrated the tissue, right? So they're not supposed to be there, but they're there, and they're white blood cells. That's our immune system, right? So the nodules would not be the cause of the Hashimoto's. The nodules would be a tissue finding on an exam or a study that we would find as a result of. It's not always a result of Hashimoto's, but they wouldn't be the cause of it. They would be a result from it. Like
Okay, and
there's no like Hashimoto's like autoimmunity coming out of the nodules.
my second question, I have so many questions. I have been skinny for all my life. Then I was exposed to Epstein-Barr virus. Then years later, I found out that I have blister. I asked physician to give me a linea. It's helped. I heard from the Dr. Bound's book. I don't remember her name. Elizabeth. She said blasto plus Epstein-Barr Hashimoto, meaning so. But still, my nodule is still there. It doesn't matter. It's about the Epstein-Barr or blasto. Something else is
So
giving
Epstein-Barr,
the
so Epstein,
nodule.
yeah, so Epstein-Barr is a very common underlying cause, right? A chronic viral infection of Hashimoto's. And if we can identify it and if it's reactivated, I have homeopathic protocols that I use. So that's something that if we identified with one person and not with the other, we wouldn't do it with everyone, but it's something that we've identified. Then on top of kind of the protocol that I laid out today, we would add in an Epstein-Barr protocol. We would layer that in with it.
But we cannot be tested for Epstein-Barr. No physician. They will. I asked
Simple
several.
blood tests. You do
I
Epstein-Barr
know,
titers. Yeah. So
but
it can just because they won't test for it doesn't mean it can't. Those are two different things. You can test for it. It's not difficult. I send people for it all the time. It's pretty easy blood test to run. Um, you may find most medical doctors won't run it, but that's why they don't help get their patients better either.
but what it will give you if it's just past infection?
Then we probably don't need to worry about it. Because most of the population has been exposed to it. I had mononucleosis in college. I had it. I don't have a reactivation of it. It's dormant. So you can tell on the blood
Reactivation
test.
just.
You can tell on the blood test if it's been reactivated or dormant.
Mm.
So if it's dormant, we leave it alone. If it's reactivated, we probably want to deal with it at some point. Good question. All right, Sharon. Would you explain the difference in symptoms of hypo and hyperthyroid issues? So hypo is going to be everything low. Hyper is going to be everything high. So think hypo is like weight gain, fatigue, hair, skin loss, depression, right? And think hyperthyroidism is all the opposite, right? Weight loss, like can't gain weight and losing weight at a rapid clip. Brain and metabolism is like go, 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 fifth gear all the time, all that kind of stuff. They can't shut it off. Anxiety, that kind of stuff. Um, they're just opposite symptoms. At least, I'm assuming while working on Hashimoto's, people still continue their thyroid hormone. That is correct. Would you expect TSH to decrease during the treatment of Hashimoto's? Hopefully. So we get the Hashimoto's under control. We want to see, hopefully, maybe we can at least reduce people's medication. Sometimes we can get them off it, but um, I would expect all of their numbers to improve during the treatment for the Hashimoto's, and then we can work with their prescribing doc to maybe address the dosing, if that makes sense. Uh, Sarah, can you go into remission with mercury fillings in your mouth? Yes. Yes. I don't bang on the hornet's nest. If it's something we can leave it, I'll leave it, to be honest with you. You know? Um, if it's something we need to, and how do I detox people? That's a can of worms. So I have some global detox protocols that I build into my AIP portion. So after we do gut, we do like liver and detox. Um, but then based on their individual situation and based on some of their test results, we may do some specific detox pathway support. We're going to see that on Dutch and we're going to see that on DNA. That's why I do them. Kim, can we start the 90-day program at any time or are there enrollment periods? There are not enrollment periods. And that's on purpose. If somebody wants to start getting better tomorrow, let's go. If someone wants to feel better yesterday, which most people who get to me, that's what they want. They're like, I want to feel better yesterday. So I don't do any of that like artificial, like scarcity, urgency. You'll see none of that from me. I want to help people get better. When they're ready, let's go. I will help them get better. If they're not ready, fine. When they are ready, I'll be here. But no, Kim, you want to get started today? Let's go. Let's start getting you feeling better like next week. So hope that helps answer your question. I think it does. All right. Let's see if we got anything else coming through here. Great stuff today, gang. I hope this was helpful for you. I'll like I said, I'm recording this, so you'll get the replay, or if you're watching this on a replay and you have questions or something, just let me know. But I'm gonna make sure everybody gets this on a replay as well, so you can go back and watch it, like running through the whole thing. So um, Kim, thank you. I appreciate your approach. It's the only approach I think works. So you're very welcome. Dawn, thank you so much for the explanation. Chat shortly. You got it. You got it. You guys need any help or have any questions or anything, let me know. Um, Otherwise, if we don't have any more questions, we'll wrap it up. I hope this was helpful for everybody today. I'll get the replay out to everybody. If you're watching this on a replay, you have any questions, just let me know. Um, Otherwise, I hope this was helpful for everybody today. I love doing this stuff, so look for some more in the future. Maybe I'll do an encore presentation at some point. Um, Although now it's recorded, which is nice. So if anybody ever wants to watch it again, um, we'll dig right in. Oh, Sharon, one last question. Can you have hyper and then it goes hypo? Yes, you can. That happens very commonly. Oh, Anastasia's got one more question popping in there. Go ahead.
Histamine issues. What if it's all about histamine?
Well, it's never all about one thing, but histamine plays a role a lot of times. Yes. So we check that on, well, that's why I'm always checking inflammatory markers and homocysteine and stuff, but we check those enzymes and those genetics on DNA. So it's very possible that histamine intolerance or histamine metabolism is playing a role. Again, it's not ever usually all about one thing, but that could be at play. Yes, these are
I
all
agree
things.
with that.
Those are things we can see on the DNA too. So, and then we see how someone responds to. These are all things. Everything that we kind of talked about today. There's a method to the madness. Like the reason why I do them the way I do them is just through experience and because it helps to look under all these rocks. And we have to look under all these rocks because if we look under 19 rocks and there's 20 rocks to look under, and you have that 20th thing that we don't look for and we don't figure out, we don't find, then we can't get someone all the way better. I hope that makes sense. We can't get them fully into remission, if that makes sense. Good question. Great question. All right, gang. Awesome. Hey, hope this was helpful. And we'll go ahead and we'll wrap it up for today then. If anybody has any additional questions, I'll be here for you. Let me know. Email me below. Scan the QR code if you want. It'll give you all the details on kind of everything we talked about today. You can email me with any questions you have anytime. And I look forward to everyone being here today. It's awesome. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. And everyone have a terrific day.
Thank you.